Love is one of the most beautiful experiences in human life, yet it is also one of the greatest sources of suffering. Many people enter relationships hoping to find happiness, safety, and completion, only to discover fear, disappointment, jealousy, and loss. We long to be loved and understood, but we often find ourselves carrying wounds that love alone does not seem to heal. Why does something so precious sometimes become so painful? This is a question human beings have asked for thousands of years. In the teachings of the Buddha, love itself is not the problem. Suffering arises when love becomes mixed with attachment, craving, and the desire to possess what cannot truly be possessed. We cling to people, to expectations, and to the hope that life will remain unchanged. Yet life, like all things, follows the gentle law of impermanence. Welcome to Whisper of Moonlight, a quiet space for reflection, mindfulness, and inner peace. As you listen tonight, you are warmly invited to share in the comments where you are joining from, or perhaps a lesson that love has taught you on your journey through life. Your reflections often become a source of wisdom and comfort for others walking a similar path. And if these teachings bring even a small moment of clarity or peace to your heart, consider supporting the channel by subscribing and joining our growing community of mindful souls around the world. In tonight's reflection, we will gently explore love through the lens of Buddhist wisdom. Together, we will examine the difference between love and attachment, discover the four immeasurable qualities of the heart, and learn how mindfulness and compassion can transform our relationships. Perhaps true love is not about holding on more tightly, but about learning to love with wisdom, freedom, and an open heart. Part 1. How does Buddhism view love? In many spiritual traditions, love is celebrated as one of the highest expressions of the human heart. Buddhism also recognizes the beauty and transformative power of love, but it invites us to look more deeply into its nature. The Buddha did not teach people to reject love or withdraw from human relationships. Rather, he encouraged us to examine whether what we call love truly leads to freedom and peace, or whether it quietly gives rise to suffering. When most people speak of love, they often mean a mixture of affection, desire, longing, fear, expectation, and attachment. There may be genuine care within it, but there may also be subtle forms of grasping. We may want someone to remain the same, behave in certain ways, or fulfill needs that we struggle to meet within ourselves. Without realizing it, we sometimes turn another person into the foundation of our happiness. Yet the Buddha observed that all conditioned things are impermanent. People change, feelings change, circumstances change. Even the strongest relationships change with time. When we demand permanence from what is naturally impermanent, suffering inevitably follows. This does not mean relationships are meaningless. On the contrary, relationships can become profound opportunities for growth, compassion, and awakening. They reveal our fears, attachments, and hidden wounds. They show us where we cling and where we resist. In this way, relationships become part of the spiritual path. The Buddha used the term tanha, often translated as craving or thirst. This craving can appear in many forms. We crave pleasure, we crave security, we crave recognition, and sometimes we crave another person in ways that create dependency rather than freedom. There is a subtle but important difference between loving someone and clinging to someone. Clinging says, "I need you in order to be complete." Love says, "I cherish your presence, but I do not seek to possess you." Clinging fears change. Love understands change. Clinging contracts the heart. Love allows the heart to expand. The Buddha also spoke of upadana, or attachment. Attachment is not simply caring deeply. Rather, it is the act of grasping tightly and identifying something as mine. We may say, my partner, my child, my friend, or my family. These words are natural in daily life, yet suffering begins when the mind quietly adds another belief. Because this is mine, it must remain as I wish. Life rarely follows our wishes. And because life changes, attachment often leads to disappointment. This is why Buddhist wisdom invites us to love without possession. Imagine holding a bird gently in your hands. If you grip too tightly, you harm it. If you hold it with care and openness, it may rest peacefully. True love resembles this gentle holding. It honors connection without imprisonment. The Buddha never taught indifference. Sometimes people mistakenly believe that non-attachment means becoming cold or emotionally distant. But Buddhist non-attachment is not the absence of love. It is the absence of clinging. A person who practices non-attachment may actually love more deeply because their love is less burdened by fear and control. When fear decreases, compassion grows. When possession decreases, freedom grows. When ego softens, understanding grows. In relationships, suffering often arises not because we love too much, but because we love with unconscious attachment. We may seek from others what can only be cultivated within ourselves: lasting peace, self-worth, and inner security. The Buddha pointed us inward, not because relationships are unimportant, but because genuine love begins in a peaceful heart. A person who is deeply at war within themselves often carries that conflict into relationships. In contrast, a person who cultivates mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom naturally shares these qualities with others. This is why Buddhist practice begins with transforming one's own mind. As we become more aware of our fears, we stop projecting them onto others. As we become more aware of our suffering, we become gentler toward the suffering of others. As wisdom deepens, love becomes less about taking and more about giving. Perhaps this is why some of the most beautiful relationships are not those without difficulties, but those in which both people learn to grow in awareness, kindness, and understanding together. Love, in the Buddhist sense, is not ownership. It is not control. It is not dependency. Love is the willingness to care for another being while respecting the truth that nothing in this world can be permanently possessed. And when we begin to love in this way, relationships become less of a battlefield and more of a path toward awakening. Part 2. The difference between love and attachment. At first glance, love and attachment can appear almost identical. Both create closeness, both create emotional bonds, both make us think often of another person. Yet beneath the surface, they arise from very different places within the heart. Love arises from freedom. Attachment arises from fear. Love wishes well. Attachment clings. Love gives space. Attachment seeks control. Because these two experiences feel so similar, many of us spend years believing we are loving when, in truth, we are grasping. This is not a judgment. It is simply part of being human. Imagine someone saying, "I cannot live without you." In movies and songs, these words often sound romantic. Yet from a Buddhist perspective, such words may reveal dependence rather than love. If our happiness depends entirely upon another person's presence, what happens when life changes? People move away. Relationships end. Illness comes. Death eventually visits every life. When our well-being rests entirely upon external conditions, we become vulnerable to suffering. True love does not deny the pain of separation. It is natural to grieve when we lose someone dear. The Buddha himself recognized the depth of human sorrow. But wisdom teaches us not to build our identity upon what cannot remain forever. Attachment often carries hidden expectations. I love you, therefore you must behave in ways that make me feel secure. I care for you, therefore you should never disappoint me. I have given so much, therefore I deserve something in return. These expectations are deeply human, but they can quietly become chains. Love, on the other hand, is rooted in generosity. It asks, how may I contribute to your well-being? How can I understand your suffering? How can we grow together in wisdom? Attachment narrows the heart around me and mine. Love expands beyond the self. This does not mean allowing harmful behavior or remaining in unhealthy relationships. Buddhist compassion includes wisdom. Sometimes, love requires healthy boundaries. Sometimes love means walking away from situations that cause harm. Compassion without wisdom becomes exhaustion. Wisdom without compassion becomes coldness. The middle path embraces both. Jealousy offers another example of the difference between love and attachment. When jealousy arises, we often experience fear. Fear of losing, fear of being replaced, fear of not being enough. The jealous mind constantly seeks reassurance because it believes security lies outside itself. But no amount of reassurance can fully calm an insecure mind. Temporary comfort may come, but fear often returns. Buddhist practice invites us to look beneath jealousy with kindness and honesty. What am I afraid of? What wound is being touched? What belief about myself am I carrying? In this way, relationships become mirrors for self-understanding. The Buddha taught that suffering can become a teacher when we approach it with mindfulness. Many of us enter relationships hoping another person will heal our loneliness. Yet no one can permanently remove our inner suffering. Others may support us. They may comfort us. They may walk beside us. But each person must eventually learn to cultivate peace within their own heart. When two people who are learning inner peace come together, love becomes lighter. There is less demand, less fear, less possession, more gratitude, more presence, more freedom. Perhaps this is one of the deepest paradoxes of love. When we stop trying to possess love, love becomes more beautiful. When we stop demanding permanence, we appreciate the present moment more deeply. And when we loosen our grip, the heart itself becomes freer. The Buddha did not ask us to stop loving. He invited us to love wisely. Part 3. The 4 Qualities of True Love in Buddhism. Buddhism offers a beautiful vision of love known as the 4 Immeasurables, or the 4 Divine Abodes. These qualities describe the kind of love that liberates rather than binds. They are loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, equanimity. Together, they form the foundation of awakened love. Loving kindness, metta. Loving kindness is the sincere wish that all beings be happy and safe. It begins with ourselves. Many people find this surprising. We often believe self-kindness is selfish, yet a heart filled with self-hatred struggles to offer genuine kindness to others. Loving kindness does not mean approving of everything we do. It means recognizing our shared humanity. Like all beings, we seek happiness. Like all beings, we experience pain. As loving kindness grows, we naturally extend it outward, to family, to friends, to strangers, even to those with whom we have difficulty. The practice of loving kindness asks, may you be safe. May you be peaceful. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. These simple wishes gradually soften the heart. Compassion, karuna. Karuna. Compassion is the wish that suffering be relieved. When we truly see another person's pain, compassion arises naturally. Compassion does not mean fixing everyone, nor does it mean carrying burdens beyond our capacity. Rather, compassion begins with presence. Sometimes the greatest gift we can offer is simply to listen deeply, to sit quietly beside another's pain, to acknowledge their humanity. The Buddha understood that suffering is universal. No life escapes loss. No heart avoids pain. Recognizing this truth can deepen our compassion for ourselves and others. Compassion transforms relationships. Instead of asking, "Why are you acting this way?" we begin asking, "What pain might this person be carrying?" This shift changes everything. Sympathetic joy, mudita. Mudita is the ability to rejoice in the happiness of others. This quality may sound simple, yet it is often difficult. When someone succeeds, envy may arise. When someone receives love, recognition, or prosperity, comparison may appear. The ego asks, "What about me?" Mudita responds, "May your happiness continue." Sympathetic joy frees us from competition. It reminds us that another person's joy does not diminish our own. Like candles lighting other candles, happiness can spread without being reduced. Relationships flourish when people celebrate one another sincerely. Equanimity, upekkha. Equanimity is perhaps the most misunderstood quality. Equanimity is not indifference. It is balanced wisdom in the face of change. We care deeply, yet we recognize that we cannot control everything. We love fully, yet we understand impermanence. Equanimity allows us to remain steady during praise and blame, gain and loss, pleasure and pain. Without equanimity, love easily becomes attachment. With equanimity, love gains spaciousness. The four immeasurables are called immeasurable because they extend beyond boundaries. They are not limited by nationality, religion, race, or personal preference. They invite us to cultivate a heart vast enough to embrace all beings. Imagine how relationships would change if love contained these four qualities: more kindness, more compassion, more joy, more balance. Perhaps this is the kind of love that truly heals. Part 4. Why does jealousy cause suffering? Jealousy is one of the most painful emotions in human relationships. It can arise suddenly, tightening the chest, disturbing the mind, and creating stories that feel overwhelmingly real. At its core, jealousy is often rooted in fear. Fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of inadequacy, fear of loss. These fears are deeply human. Nearly everyone experiences them at some point in life. Buddhism does not ask us to condemn jealousy. Instead, it invites us to observe it with awareness. When jealousy appears, we can gently ask, "What am I protecting? What am I afraid of losing? What belief about myself is hidden beneath this feeling?" Often, jealousy reveals old wounds. Perhaps we have experienced betrayal. Perhaps we learned to believe we were not enough. Perhaps we fear being left behind. The Buddha taught that suffering becomes lighter when we understand its causes. Mindfulness allows us to meet jealousy without becoming consumed by it. Rather than acting immediately, we pause, we breathe, we observe, we recognize. This is jealousy. This is fear. This is suffering. Awareness creates space, and within that space, wisdom can arise. Jealousy often grows strongest when we seek our entire identity in another person. If someone leaves, we feel as though we ourselves are disappearing. But Buddhist teachings remind us that our worth does not depend on another person's choices. True security cannot be found entirely outside ourselves. It must be cultivated within. This does not happen overnight. Inner security grows slowly through mindfulness, compassion, and self-understanding. The more we learn to rest peacefully within ourselves, the less tightly we cling to others. And paradoxically, relationships often become healthier when there is less clinging. Love breathes more easily. Trust grows. Freedom grows. Peace grows. The Buddha once compared attachment to grasping a burning coal with the intention of throwing it at another person. The one who holds the coal is burned first. Jealousy works in a similar way. Long before it harms relationships, it disturbs our own hearts. Yet, every moment of awareness is also an opportunity for transformation. Each time we notice jealousy without feeding it, we strengthen wisdom. Each time we respond with mindfulness instead of reactivity, we cultivate freedom. And slowly, the heart learns another way of loving, a way that is rooted not in fear, but in understanding, not in possession, but in care, not in control, but in trust. Perhaps true love is not the absence of vulnerability. Perhaps it is the courage to love fully while accepting the changing nature of life itself. Part 5. What does it mean to love mindfully? In our modern world, love often moves quickly. Messages are sent instantly. Relationships begin rapidly and sometimes end just as quickly. Yet, while technology has made communication easier, it has not necessarily made understanding easier. Many relationships suffer not because there is no love, but because there is not enough presence. Two people may live in the same home while remaining emotionally distant. They may sit together at dinner while their minds wander elsewhere. They may speak often, yet rarely feel deeply heard. The Buddha taught that mindfulness is the path of returning fully to the present moment. And perhaps nowhere is mindfulness more needed than in our relationships. To love mindfully means to be truly present, not merely physically present, but mentally and emotionally present as well. When someone speaks, we listen, not to prepare our response, not to defend ourselves, not to prove we are right, but simply to understand. Deep listening is one of the greatest expressions of love. Often, what another person needs most is not advice or solutions, but the experience of being seen and heard. How many conflicts arise because people feel misunderstood? How many wounds deepen because someone feels invisible? Mindful love begins with attention. When we bring awareness to our relationships, we begin to notice subtle patterns within ourselves. We notice how quickly anger arises. We notice our expectations. We notice our fears. We notice the stories we create in our minds. Without mindfulness, emotions often take control. A single word may trigger old pain. A small disagreement may become a large conflict. An unmet expectation may grow into resentment. But mindfulness creates a pause between feeling and reaction. Within that pause lies freedom. The Buddha never taught that emotions should be suppressed. Emotions are natural. Anger is natural. Sadness is natural. Fear is natural. The question is not whether emotions arise. The question is whether we become lost within them. When anger appears in a relationship, mindful love invites us to stop and breathe before speaking. Words spoken in anger can leave wounds that last for years. Sometimes, a few moments of silence protect both hearts. Mindful speech is an important part of Buddhist practice. Before speaking, we may ask, is it true? Is it beneficial? Is it kind? Is it the right time? Not every truth must be spoken immediately. Wisdom knows timing. Compassion knows tone. Mindful love also includes awareness of impermanence. We often assume that the people we love will always be there, but life offers no such guarantees. Parents grow old, children become adults, friends move away, partners change. One day, every meeting ends. This truth may seem sad at first, yet the awareness of impermanence can deepen our love. When we remember that life is fragile, we appreciate small moments more fully. A shared meal becomes precious. A simple conversation becomes meaningful. An ordinary day becomes extraordinary. Mindfulness transforms routine into gratitude. The Vietnamese Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh often spoke of love as understanding. He taught that understanding is love's deepest foundation. Without understanding, even good intentions can create suffering. To understand another person is to recognize their fears, hopes, wounds, and dreams. Every person carries invisible burdens. Every heart knows some form of pain. When we truly understand this, compassion naturally arises. Mindful love also requires caring for ourselves. Many people exhaust themselves trying to save others while neglecting their own well-being. Yet an empty cup cannot pour water. A tired heart struggles to offer peace. Self-care in Buddhism is not selfishness. It is stewardship. When we nourish our own inner peace, we become more capable of supporting others. Mindful love is not perfect love. There will still be misunderstandings. There will still be difficult moments. But mindfulness allows us to return again and again to kindness and awareness. In this way, love itself becomes a practice, not a destination, not a possession, but a path walked one mindful step at a time. Part 6. How do we move through loss and separation? Among all human experiences, few are more painful than separation. The ending of a relationship, the loss of a loved one, distance between hearts once close. These experiences can leave us feeling as though part of ourselves has been torn away. When love ends, many people ask, why did this happen? Why couldn't it last? What did I do wrong? The Buddha's teachings offer neither blame nor easy answers. Instead, they invite us to look deeply into the nature of reality itself. Everything that arises eventually passes away. This is not a punishment. It is simply the nature of existence. Flowers bloom and wither. Seasons change. Youth becomes old age. Meetings become partings. Nothing remains exactly as it is. The Buddha called this truth impermanence. Impermanence is not merely a philosophical idea. It is woven into every moment of life. Often, our suffering comes not from change itself, but from resisting change. We want what is pleasant to stay. We want what is painful to disappear. Yet life moves according to its own rhythm. Understanding impermanence does not make us love less. In fact, it often helps us love more deeply. When we know that moments are temporary, we cherish them more fully. Imagine holding a flower that blooms only for one day. Its brief life does not diminish its beauty. If anything, its fragility makes it even more precious. Human relationships are much the same. Their impermanence gives them meaning. Sometimes people fear that accepting impermanence means becoming detached or indifferent. But Buddhist wisdom points in another direction. Acceptance is not indifference. Acceptance is seeing clearly. We can love wholeheartedly while understanding that nothing can be held forever. This understanding softens the heart. It teaches gratitude instead of possession, presence instead of fear. When separation comes, grief naturally follows. The Buddha never denied grief. To lose someone we love is painful because love matters. Grief itself is not the problem. Clinging to what can no longer be changed often prolongs suffering. Healing does not mean forgetting. Healing does not erase love. Rather, healing allows love to change form. The physical presence may be gone. The relationship may have ended, yet gratitude, wisdom, and compassion may remain. Sometimes relationships end because people grow in different directions. Sometimes they end because circumstances change. Sometimes they end despite sincere love. Life is complex. Not every ending is a failure. Some relationships enter our lives to teach us. Some stay for a season. Some remain for many years. Each carries its own lessons. Buddhist teachings encourage us to ask, what has this relationship taught me? How has it helped me grow? What wisdom can I carry forward? In this way, suffering becomes a teacher. Pain becomes part of awakening. Loss becomes an invitation to deeper understanding. There is an old saying, do not cry because it ended. Be grateful because it happened. This perspective does not deny sorrow. Rather, it widens the heart enough to hold both grief and gratitude together. We can miss someone and still wish them well. We can feel sadness and still continue living fully. We can let go without losing love. In Buddhism, letting go is not pushing away. It is releasing the demand that life be different from what it is. Sometimes letting go happens slowly, like autumn leaves falling one by one. Patience is needed. Compassion is needed. Time is needed. There is no correct schedule for healing. Every heart moves at its own pace. If you are carrying the pain of loss tonight, know that you are not alone. Countless beings throughout history have loved and lost. This shared experience is part of our common humanity, and perhaps within grief itself lies a hidden invitation to love more wisely, to cherish more deeply, and to awaken more fully to the preciousness of life. Part 7. Where does true love begin? Many people spend years searching for the right person, yet Buddhism gently asks another question. Before seeking the right person, have we learned how to care for our own hearts? This does not mean becoming self-centered. It means recognizing that the quality of our relationships is deeply influenced by the state of our minds. If the mind is filled with fear, fear enters relationships. If the mind is filled with anger, anger enters relationships. If the mind is filled with peace, peace enters relationships. Wherever we go, we bring ourselves with us. This is why Buddhist practice begins within. The Buddha taught that the mind is the source of both suffering and liberation. When the mind is untrained, it creates confusion. When the mind is cultivated, it gives rise to wisdom and compassion. True love begins not with finding perfection in another person, but with developing understanding within ourselves. Many people secretly believe, if I find the right person, I will finally feel complete. Yet no human being can permanently fill the emptiness created by fear, insecurity, or self-rejection. Others can support us, they can inspire us, they can walk beside us. But the work of inner transformation belongs to each of us. Learning to care for ourselves is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of wisdom. Self-compassion means speaking to ourselves gently. It means acknowledging mistakes without condemnation. It means recognizing that imperfection is part of being human. The Buddha encouraged a path of kindness, not only toward others, but toward ourselves. How often do we offer understanding to friends while withholding it from ourselves? How often do we forgive others, yet continue punishing ourselves? A heart that knows only self-criticism struggles to rest, and a restless heart often seeks outside validation to fill inner wounds. But external approval can never provide lasting peace. True peace arises from understanding our own nature. Meditation becomes an important practice here. When we sit quietly and observe the mind, we begin to see its habits. We notice craving. We notice fear. We notice attachment. We notice the endless stories we tell ourselves. Gradually, awareness grows, and with awareness comes freedom. The more deeply we know ourselves, the less we unconsciously ask others to carry our unmet needs. Relationships become lighter, healthier, more spacious. We stop asking others to save us. Instead, we walk together as fellow travelers on the path of life. In Buddhism, love is not something we possess. Love is something we cultivate. Like a garden, it requires care, patience, attention, and wisdom. A neglected garden becomes overgrown with weeds. Likewise, an uncultivated mind may become filled with anger, jealousy, and fear. But through mindfulness, compassion, and ethical living, the heart gradually blossoms. The Buddha compared spiritual practice to tending a field. We plant wholesome seeds. We water them daily, and in time, they bear fruit. The same is true of love. True love grows where wisdom and compassion meet. It grows where understanding replaces judgment. It grows where freedom replaces control. It grows where presence replaces distraction. Perhaps the greatest gift we can offer another person is not perfection. It is a peaceful heart, a heart that knows how to listen, a heart that knows how to forgive, a heart that knows how to remain open despite life's uncertainties. Such a heart does not love because it needs to possess. It loves because love itself has become its nature. Conclusion. Love has inspired poetry, music, and stories throughout human history. It has brought immense joy and deep sorrow. It has lifted hearts and broken them. And perhaps because love touches every human life, the Buddha looked deeply into its nature. His teachings do not ask us to turn away from love. They invite us to transform it, to move from attachment toward compassion, from possession toward freedom, from fear toward understanding. The path of Buddhist love is not easy. It asks us to examine ourselves honestly, to face our attachments, to recognize our fears, to cultivate wisdom alongside kindness. Yet this path offers something precious, a love that does not imprison, a love that does not demand, a love that allows both ourselves and others to breathe freely. Perhaps true love is not found in holding on tightly. Perhaps true love is found in learning how to care deeply while embracing the changing nature of life. When love is guided by wisdom, it becomes gentler. When love is guided by compassion, it becomes healing. And when love is rooted in mindfulness, it becomes a path toward liberation. As we close tonight's reflection at Moonlight Temple, take a moment to quietly ask yourself, what does love mean to me? Where in my life am I holding too tightly? And where might I invite more understanding, compassion, and freedom? If this reflection resonated with your heart, you are warmly invited to share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Your words may become a source of comfort for someone else walking a similar path. And if you wish to continue exploring Buddhist wisdom, mindfulness, and inner peace with us, consider subscribing and becoming part of our growing Whisper of Moonlight community. Until we meet again, may your heart be peaceful. May your love be wise, and may all beings be free from suffering.